I guess I'll start over my little speech. All right, hello everyone. Welcome to this week's weekly meetup, UK Sangha. We get together every Wednesday to practice the Dhamma together and explore whatever topic arises. Or sometimes we read a sutta, but today the topic of social anxiety came up. And some points I was mentioning about social anxiety is that social anxiety is a completely internally based feeling mechanism and response system. And it's the same anxiety that comes up when you're completely alone that comes up when you're around other people. So it's also true that if you have the habitual tendency to get social anxiety, that you also get social anxiety just thinking about other people, or just thinking about a situation that you were just in and you get anxiety from it, or thinking about a potential situation with other people, you get social anxiety from, but there's no one around, right? But the anxiety is exactly the same, whether you're just thinking about other people or whether you're literally in a situation with other people. So this to me is evidence or proof that it's a completely internal mind-based feeling mechanism that can be reprogrammed and hacked to feel the way that you want to feel. And it starts with uh, getting rid of anxiety, period, whatever the situation is. So um, if you have um, a lion mentality towards anxiety, so you see it as what it is, it's a hindrance or a distraction to the practice of the Dhamma or meditation. Uh, Essentially, it's Mara playing its tricks on you once again, right? Whether or not you're alone or in a social situation, the way that you deal with it is the same. So you see it as restlessness. Oh, there it is, restlessness. Um, Let me see how this thing is happening. Okay, I'm kind of talking myself into restlessness. So I'm mentally proliferating about something that I don't know exists, but I'm just imagining it. So oftentimes, let's say you're in a social situation, the mind will go all sorts of places imagining, oh, what does this person think about me? And oh, did that come off right? Or what? Oh no, these people probably don't like me. I probably look weird or I'm acting weird. All sorts of like speculation, right? So you're speculating about what is going on, but you don't actually know it's real. It's just something that you made up in your head and then you convinced yourself that it's true, and so you feel bad about it. So this is why they say ignorance is bliss. Um, it's better
And
not to imagine what isn't there for certain.
yeah,
Um,
it's amazing how you can operate in these suppositions because like I've sometimes been in situations where I don't like I assume what I think is going on, and then I act based upon it and talk to people based upon it. Like in parties, for example, I thought that someone saw me drop something,
right.
uh, and I see them laughing, and then like 20 minutes later, I check up on those people, and
Yeah.
what are you talking about? And I was just tripping those whole 20
Yeah.
minutes
Yeah.
on
Yeah.
something in my head.
Yeah. Exactly. So you could see situations like that all the time. And but the problem is there's some of those situations that we realize, oh, we just made that up. Oh, there's a group of people and they're snickering over there. Oh, is that about me? Like, are they laughing at me? right? So the mind will come up with all sorts of things like this. And you can actually see it when someone's like extremely mentally ill. It's just the same process that we do normally, like that, imagining what isn't there, creating situations to worry about. Um, when that goes to its extreme, it's literally like schizophrenic. So people with like schizophrenia, there's this group of people online who think they're constantly being gang stalked. I don't know if you guys ever seen these, but these people, they'll be like filming random people in public and be like, they'll be convinced that there's an organization cooperating together to stalk them and follow them and hunt them down. And they'll just be filming random people and like they'll come at like random people and like get mad at them. And the person will be like, what are you talking about? Um, so to understand that even though it may not be that extreme and it may be like more generally normal, certain lines of thought that cause us anxiety, see it for what it is it's actually kind of like a mental illness. It's a sickness of the mind. So if you understand what it is, it's a hindrance to being in a wholesome state of this, like the goal is to be in a wholesome state. You see it as a sickness. And so instead of like welcoming it in, you see the danger in that line of thought and you make the right effort to change it. Say, oh, no, there it goes again. There's my mind uh, creating dukkha for myself again. So this is dukkha. Whether or not there are people or not makes no difference of whether it's dukkha. Dukkha is dukkha. Whether it's social anxiety or just plain anxiety or depression or whatever it is, whatever circumstance or situation it is, you say, this is dukkha. I'm getting myself in. Anyways, at the end of the day, who cares what other people think about you? It's all impermanent, right? So that situation is all going to vanish and it's going to change and be replaced by new people and new situations. So that no relationship, no person is really that important to cause ourselves dukkha over. So spotting dukkha as dukkha and realizing the source of that dukkha, so the mental lines of thought and the justification for that dukkha, the mind comes up with all sorts of reasons why it's valid to be worried about this or that. Um, and you have to continually wake up to what's going on, spot that process of mind, and call it out on its own bullshit. So you start doing this, and you develop like a lion mentality to do it, a kind of fearlessness that comes from the resolution and and uh, the ardency. I don't know if that's a word, but being ardent and resolute about the practice of the Dhamma, irrespective of the situation. That I'm not going to let anything or anyone change the way that I want to feel of being in a wholesome state. And you develop this lion mentality, and it goes a long way in social situations or by yourself. But the point is not to do this to become more sociable or become more charismatic or whatever, although that may be a byproduct of it. The point is just to eliminate dukkha. So that's the only purpose of it all. That's the only teaching there is, in accordance with the Buddha, what the Buddha taught. Yeah, go for it.
Yeah, that's a pretty solid base. I wanna I would like to talk about like the pitfalls of this. And we can talk about that phrase you mentioned, who cares? And it's what Dhammarado's his latest linguistical innovation, the word caring. And for me, like the pitfall I'm experiencing is, for example, I was just having lunch, watching a series, like really calm, and then just when I was to log into a call, I got like a little bit anxious. And so the pitfall is like caring about what you were saying. What are they gonna think of me? All stuff. Those are like usual thoughts. And it's what happened is that when you're focusing, when your attention is placed on that concept which you care about, you are not placing your attention in the breath, like in the practice.
Right.
And you might have the thought like, oh, I'm not paying attention to the breath, but you're still caring. It's like
Uh-huh.
you're in the middle of a knee-jerk reaction.
Uh-huh.
So
Right. So,
what I'm
in that case, what's going on? Welcome, Katal. We're talking about social anxiety. But yeah, so in that case, what happened is that you started, you go, okay, there's dukkha, and you go, oh shit, there's dukkha. Like I need to change it. I need to find a way out of the dukkha. Instead of realizing that the reason why we take a deep breath is to alleviate the dukkha, not to as a response to an increased reaction of panic to the dukkha. So uh, so like if you think that because you weren't doing the practice is justification for experiencing more dukkha, that's a misunderstanding of the practice. Because okay, go for it.
just to clarify, I mean, hold on to that thought because it's important too. But what I meant is that the knee-jerk reaction is so strong that I cannot like bend the attention into the right way, you know? Not
Okay,
that it's my fault that I'm
no,
not
but
paying attention
that's what
and
I'm saying.
oh, okay.
That you think there's a right way to bend the attention. So you're setting a standard, and because you're not meeting the standard, you're punishing yourself. Which is anti the point of alleviating dukkha. So the attention can be where it needs to be. The attention can be on the dukkha is not a problem. Actually trying to forcefully change the attention from the dukkha to something else um, isn't really necessarily going to solve the dukkha. It's so you face the dukkha head on, and you don't try to move the attention from the dukkha, but you look at the dukkha directly and you alleviate it then and there. So you don't need to move the attention from the dukkha or the unwholesome thoughts. You can let the attention be where the attention is, and then uh, uh, take uh, take deeper breaths and relax the tension that has arisen or the dukkha. And yeah, that's a common understanding of what breathing meditation is to take the attention and to, okay, I'm going to direct my attention on the breath and I'm going to hold it there. And that's called concentration. That's not what the anapanasati it really is. Uh, it's more of the recognition that you are breathing. It doesn't really have to do with guiding the attention on the breath or stabilizing the attention on the breath. You simply recognize that you're breathing and take a deep breath and relax the tensions that you're holding on to, which is actually, it's caused by the mental activity, but the tensions themselves are physical sensations. So because the tensions are already here, we can change the mental activity in conjunction with relaxing the physical tensions themselves, which is why the breath is so important. So taking smooth, deep, relaxing breaths, and at the same time spotting the unwholesome thoughts as dukkha and as mara, changing the unwholesome thoughts to wholesome ones, or applying and sustaining wholesome thoughts, like guiding a herd of cattle into a safe destination where we know it's not going to cause us problems. And then we can sit down by the shady tree and relax the physical tensions. So it's kind of twofold. There's many aspects that goes along with it. The guiding framework of the practice of the Dhamma is dukkha, spotting how it arises, or that. So like the first two noble truths was you realizing, oh, I'm imagining situations that are causing myself agitation um, in my own mind. That's the first two noble truths. The second two would be the right effort of what to do in response to that. And the answer is guide the thoughts into safe destination or wholesome thoughts. And what is not a safe destination for your thoughts is to think, oh, am I doing the practice right? Or is I can't I can't do what I want it to do, or it's not cooperating, or it's not working, or oh, there's more dukkha, more dukkha. Those are all continual uh, dependent originations of mental activity that's creating more dukkha. So there's no problem with them except for spotting them as more dukkha and not the practice. So the practice is to get the thoughts into a wholesome posture, take deeper breaths, relax the physical tensions that have arisen because of the mental activity, and do this. Do this. It's like a 1-2 punch. It kind of it slowly but surely you will relax, and the physical tensions will release, and with the while maintaining full awareness of things. Um, am I is Are my thoughts getting off track? Are they getting into a place that's going to cause me problems? Oh, nope, they're fine. Cool. Now let me go back to just relaxing. Taking deep breaths. Oh, that one of the cows like went off into started to get lost. Well, you have to take corrective action there. Well, there's dukkha again. There's mara. There's an unwholesome thought. Guide it back into the right place, and sit back down in the shady tree. Yes, DJ, you have a question?
Oh yeah. Just kind of adding a little bit. Again, wonderful what you said there, Scott, in terms of to the sometimes like the doubt that can arise, like, are you doing the practice sort of correctly or whatever? But I wanted to add too, just a wonderful time for congratulations. So when you spot the dukkha, right, that's the thing that can be immediately kind of wholesome. Is just like congratulations. Like that's the whole thing with the aha, I see you, Mara, right? It's like when you spot the dukkha, that's scoring the like cosmic touchdown, right? So that's baked into it when it arises, and you can come right back to wholesome thought instead of like so much like a confusion of like, oh, am I doing the practice right? Is it, and all that stuff, and just be like, oh, cool, we spotted it, nice, and then just return to whatever, right? So it can be the breath or what have you, but that doesn't need to. The breath doesn't need to be another object that we need to cling on to, right? Like we must always watch the breath all the time. It's like, no, whenever you remember, come back and congratulate. This is wonderful. Be glad you remember, as opposed to upset that you forgot. That's sort of it's almost the same process in a way when that hits, when the sati hits, but we can go in two directions with it. So we can either go into the gladness or oh, that's a bummer. So anyway, that's just what I felt like adding.
Yeah, perfect. Yeah, so the congratulation. Creating a wholesome feedback loop is essentially what you're doing with that. Yeah, when I spot my own dukkha, I don't get bummed out about it. I actually get happy about it. Ha, there it is. I congratulate myself. I give myself a trophy. I give my I name myself the champion. Okay. Um, if you look at people who are happy, like they're the winner in their own mind. So Even if there's dukkha, you're a winner because you spotted the dukkha. So you're re-engineering your own mind to confirmation bias you as a champion, which feels gratifying. It feels good. And it also makes you a champion because you look at everyone else, they're miserable. So if you can get yourself into a wholesome state of mind, you really are doing it. And so you kind of manifest it into existence by changing how you think about it. And yeah, I forgot what I was gonna say.
Oh, I have yeah, I can add a
Oh,
little
wait, I
bit.
was gonna say
Yeah.
one
Oh,
thing.
cool.
I
Yeah.
just
No.
remembered it. Yeah, also another thing to realize with the unwholesome thoughts that are causing dukkha, uh, realizing what it's really doing here is that we're harming ourselves. So I don't know if you guys seen the picture with like a person riding a bike and they put like a stick into the wheel and they fall down and they start crying about it. That's like essentially what we're doing with thinking of ourselves, our own misery, imagining our own dukkha. So it's not so judging ourselves for that process is not fixing the process, it's actually doing the exact same thing. But seeing it and saying, I'm harming myself, or I'm putting my hand in the fire, I'm holding on to a hot piece of coal, is what allows you to stop doing it. Because until you realize that you are literally harming yourself, you will think that there's a rational justification for it of, no, actually, I need to plan out these mental situations in my mind in order to protect myself. So you think that you are actually keeping yourself safe, and if you can figure it out, and if you can figure out what other people are thinking about you, you can defend yourself and like keep yourself safe. So there's the mental justification for the unwholesome thinking that thinks it's actually doing itself good, but you have to realize through wisdom that no, this is just harming me. There's only danger and harm in this because of the direct experience of dukkha that I'm having. So dukkha is the culprit, not whatever situation that you're worried about. Really, there's nothing to worry about. Um, the only thing to recognize is that we're there is only this moment, and we're either causing ourselves dukkha, or we take the correct effort to get out of dukkha, and then we develop insight into that whole process and become champions of it. Yeah, yes, Marcel, you have a question?
Yeah, what you just said about that there is nothing that's worth worrying about or whatever. What if I don't believe it? Like, Sati is kicking in and I'm thinking not like, oh, nice, it's an opportunity to take a deep breath and relax and kick dukkha out. It's more like, oh, another moment where I remember how shitty situation X is or whatever. When the circumstances like it has to do with attitude, I believe. It's like if the circumstances are okayish around me, my attitude is pretty easy. Like it's pretty easy to get into the lion's attitude. But if not, my mind, like it's so convincing that the situation is worse to feel shitty about that I can't kick it out. I can't change it. I don't know, like I'm so convinced by
Yeah,
it.
so like so that's the exact attitude that we're practicing to change. So it's because you have the mentality that you can't do it, is why you can't do it. So the point is not to worry about doing it in the future, but to do it right now, because that's the only time you're going to do it. So right now, you realize, no, telling myself I can't do it, that's bullshit. Why not? I can do it right now. So let me let me see that as dukkha. Let me see that I can't do this attitude as what actually is the culprit for creating my suffering. Here, let me finish real quick.
Oh,
Here and
sorry, I
now.
just misclicked.
Okay, you're good. What is the culprit for the dukkha here and now. The cool thing about dukkha is there is no dukkha in the future. Because the future hasn't come. There's only the dukkha right now. So if you can solve the dukkha right now, you have solved dukkha. And if you worry about solving dukkha in the future, that's just creating dukkha for yourself right now. So that's what I really mean by there's nothing to worry about. So creating a future problem is the exact thing that creates dukkha, irrespective of the situation. Even when you're in a situation that you react with dukkha to that situation, it's because you're projecting future problem amidst the situation. So you're in a social situation. The only reason why you worry about something is because you think something's going to happen to you, not because of what's happening in the moment. What's happening in the moment is never the problem. In fact, you find that if you only deal with what's happening in the moment and you take things one step at a time or one by one as they occur, you'll find that you can literally handle anything, and you'll become sure of it that you can handle anything, and you become beyond a shadow of doubt you can handle anything if you take things literally one moment at a time, literally one breath at a time. Whatever situation it is, okay, let me see if I can just get through this next breath. Okay, let me take one more breath. I can handle that. Okay, I did one breath. Let me do the next breath. The only job I have right now that dukkha has arisen and I cause myself worry is to take literally one breath. And you can always do that. So you can realize that, oh wait, actually that problem isn't actually there unless I project into the future that it is. But it's a training, okay? I'm saying that it's literally a training to take things one step at a time because of the habitual tendency to do otherwise and what you've been training yourself constantly to do otherwise. So this training happens as soon as we spot the larger mechanism that creates the dukkha. So that would be the second noble truth. So, I mean, most of us are here. We've realized dukkha already. We know that it's dukkha, and we're here seeking the end to dukkha. Otherwise, we wouldn't be in a Buddhist Sangha, right? We wouldn't be here. So, realizing sometimes how we're creating our own dukkha is good, but then you have to realize that it's always created somehow. And then even though times where you think it's justified that I need this dukkha as a safety response, well, no, that's just more dukkha. And you see that you create it yourself, or that I can't do this, or that a situation is overwhelming, I can't handle this, or the fear of a future situation. So that's the thing, as you say, Marcel, that you can become a lion on your own, but certain situations not. Well, to me, that would be proof that becoming a lion on your own hasn't fully completed it itself. Because once you become a lion on your own completely, you realize that there's no other place to be a lion, and it's always there. So if you are a lion on the inside, there is literally nothing that can happen on the outside that can affect that. So if you do it to its full, congratulate for the times you have been a lion. Congratulate yourself on that progress or that fruit. But at the same time, realize that it's always a right now practice. It's always, am I aligned right now or not? And if I can do it right now, there's no other time to do it really. So I can always do it. So that I can do this attitude is part of being aligned, whether you are alone or not. Does that make sense? Oh, Eric, you had a question? I didn't want to.
No, I just wanted to add that, like Marcella, I think one of his keywords was when you're convinced of something that doesn't let you like be content, and like on the other side of the of the map, you can see that or ask yourself, how is it that I became convinced of this thing that is now affecting me? And in our culture, in our scientific culture, we value experiments, experience, and logic, the Ben Shapiro way, science and logic. But we also have to take into account, as you were saying, Scott, that really the most important thing for the brain is repetition. So like first, like one experiment you can do is seeing like you're feeling bad about this thing, but then this other thing happened and I felt a little better, and then this other thing happened, and I was comparing it to my previous I can't state it really. What I want to say is that we're always valuing things in comparison to another things that we're thinking about. So one practical experiment we can do is seeing how many times our value or our mood about something can change within a short span of time, and see that it's not a solid thing at all from the experiment side. And from the logical side, like truly value what's in the suttas, because that's hard logic there.
Right. So, yeah, another important point Eric brought up, Marcel, is the repetition. So you were a lion before in the past. If you did it once, that's you gotta repeat it. So you have to rinse and repeat the practice. So you heard the Dhamma one time and you got it. You need the continual washing over and the continual exposure to it and the continual repetition of it. So the fact that you were a lion in the past means, well, I can do that again. I can get back there again. I've done it before. I can do it again. And the practice is to repeat doing that same exact thing here and now. Um, does that clarify things, Marcel?
Yeah, it does. I believe, as you said, like those habits, because how to say it, like, yeah, as circumstances get worse, let's say, like the habit is to get into this crybaby attitude, like really liking this victim and self-pity shit. It's like I notice like I'm feeling some kind of comfort in it,
Right.
and therefore it's really hard to get out of it.
Yeah.
Because that's what I quote
Yeah.
like.
So until you see the real danger in it, you're gonna keep doing it. So you think it's like a cathartic release. Oh, poor me. It feels good to be a victim. Until you really see that that's causing there's more costs than there are benefits to that. So you see the danger in it. You're gonna keep doing it until you realize that it's harming you. So that's the point I was making about realizing that we're doing it to ourselves and that it's dangerous to do that. So that motivates you to stop doing it. It's the same with anger. Anger is exactly the same. So you get angry at someone, you get angry at a situation. You think, oh, this anger makes me feel big, bad, and powerful. It kind of feels good a little bit to be really angry, right? So you don't see the danger in it, so you're going to keep doing it. But then you realize that behind all that anger is just a bunch of dukkha and fear, and the anger is perpetuating it and and adding more dukkha to the situation and tensing yourself up even more. Then you'll start to take the right effort to correct that anger in the angry thoughts or the unwholesome thoughts. Ill will, right? It's one of the hindrances. If your mind is obsessed by fear or anger, then there is no unification of mind, there's no right samadhi, or there's no jhana. So it's completely an obstruction to the practice of the Dhamma and the realization of Nibbana. So spotting these things and relentlessly spotting them and rinse and repeat will give you more insight and more development into the things that are actually dukkha that you thought were not dukkha or were helping you or were helping alleviate the situation. Like, oh, the pity party. This is my way to cope with it. So all these dukkha responses and all these hindrances are essentially a form of coping mechanism to dukkha instead of facing the dukkha head on like a lion and realizing its true origin and realizing its true cessation, which would be first jhana, in terms of getting yourself out of the hindrances. and then once you are in first jhana, that's realizing the cessation of dukkha. You realize the way or the path to the cessation of dukkha. So when you're in first jhana, you realize this is the state of mind, this is the meditation, this is the clarity that leads to the cessation of suffering. So you continue on in first jhana, and whenever you get out of first jhana, you practice again. Oh, cool. I got in first jhana for a good while. Good on. Congratulate yourself. Now let's see how fast I can get back in it. And you do this to all the process of the mind, all of the hindrances, irrespective of the situation. And you do this relentlessly. You'll be able to be in jhana for most of the time and for longer periods of time. And it'll start making changes, actual physical changes to the habitual tendencies of the mind and how the body feels on a moment-to-moment basis. Like if you continue with this practice, you literally change the chemistry of your own body, really, to feel more wholesome and more positive responses and less dukkha. And it makes a change, like for your whole life, pretty much. But it's only practiced through repetition. And no matter how great of a jhanas you get into, or even if you do experience nibbana, all of that is impermanent, and the practice remains the same that you did from the beginning. So that's the beauty of it, is that it's literally the same practice all throughout. It's the same dukkha and it's the same cessation of dukkha. And it's the same origin and way leading to the end of it, from the beginning all the way to the full fruition. So there's a line from the suttas in the Pali Canon, direct quote, the Buddha saying it's good. The Dhamma, he teaches the Dhamma that is good in the beginning, in the middle, and in the end. So it is, so there's kind of a joyful, there's a joyful revelation and there's a joyful victory, really. There's a victorious joy that comes along with the Dhamma, because it's victorious in the very beginning all the way to right to the end. It's making clear what was hidden. So it's shining a light on what was misunderstood in your direct experience, in your experience of reality as it is. So what's actually happening here in the cognized, just the cognized, in the sensed, just the sensed, in the heard, only the heard. So it's shining a light on the truth of reality as it actually is, of what is going on in my mind and what states are arising. And developing the unremitting sati of remembering to look, remembering to stop, remember to, wait on a second, wait a minute. What's going on here? Let me stop, take a look at what's happening. All this dukkha is arising. Let me pump the brakes a little. So, nothing's that important. Let me stop here, look at what's going on, one breath at a time. And continue to do that, and you'll become addicted to it just like you become addicted to anything else, because of how actually rewarding it is. And then at a certain point, you enter the stream. So that would be Sotapan. There, you enter the stream where it's kind of, now you're really in the river of it, and it's really is unremitting. But the only way you get there is to unremittingly practice and to repeat, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat, rinse and repeat.
It's been great. I have to leave now, but thanks, Scott. Thanks,
good
everybody.
having you, man. Good to
See you all later.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
That was the end of my little spiel. If anyone has any thing to comment or add or ask about.
It was a wonderful little spiel.
Thank you.
Enjoyed it.
Thank you. So to conclude it, no dukkha is justified.
Right. Or realize that dukkha is just dukkha, and all dukkha has a fundamental origin that comes from ignorance. So all dukkha arises because of ignorance.
Because I wasn't aware when it was coming up, right?
Not being aware of what is going on. Yes.
Okay.
Not being aware of what happened or what's happening. So essentially, it's the opposite of the Eightfold Noble Path. So all dukkha, it comes from ignorance, which is a wrong view, wrong intention, wrong, etc. So the wrong intentions are, example, the unwholesome thoughts, or like an intention of ill will, for example. So in like an intention of someone else's harm that comes up in your own mind is the direct cause of the dukkha that you're experiencing as a byproduct of that intention. But an intention of non-ill will, or an intention of compassion, or any of the Brahma Viharas of loving kindness, of any wholesome thought that is safe and pure and good, you realize that there's no dukkha with that intention. That intention is completely wholesome, so there's no danger in it. So let me apply and sustain that to steady my mind. And once my mind is unified and clarified, I can drop the intentions to even do that, and I can just sustain the awareness on the unification of mind and the singleness of the wholesome feeling themselves, of just being in a wholesome state. And I can just rest in the wholesome. And that is not dull. It is not, it's not a deep samadhi. It's a light clarity where you remain fully aware, but at the same time, you pierce the veil and you start to see reality as it actually is. And you see the nature of sensate phenomena as they arise and vanish moment to moment. And then if you actually do realize all sensations are just impermanent and arise right where they are, to no one, and no one is responsible, and it's all impersonal, and there's no real location, there's no time and space, that's just more sensations, um, and they're dependently arisen on the causes and conditions, which is just other sensations. Then you get to dispassion and disenchantment of the lion that knows it's really does know there is no dukkha to worry about, and there's no problem worth caring about. That's dispassion or disenchantment. But I think there's some talk earlier in the Sangha about practicing dispassion or disenchantment. You don't practice dispassion or disenchantment from the start. It's not a practice. It's an aspect that comes on out of it later on down the road, that comes from real insights or clarity into the nature of the five aggregates or the six sense spaces or whatever. And it arises as a byproduct of all that joy and all that success of the cessation of dukkha.
By comparison.
What?
By comparison.
What do you
It's
mean?
dispassion by comparison. It's not that I'm dispassionate because of itself. It's because I've experienced so much joy that everything else is unsatisfactory.
Yes, exactly. So you see you're uninterested because you see that it's not none of the things, all of the impermanent things, all of your relationships, all of the sensual pleasures, anything in life will never satisfy you, so you stop caring about it. And you're just sitting here happy and joyful with literally nothing. So that's dispassion. Dispassion is not being in a cynical state of mind, which some people think is dispassion in the chats. So being cynical is not dispassion. That's just dukkha. So yeah, that's a good thing to clarify in regards to that. Yeah. Well, if anyone has anything else to say.
No, just one last thing. And to get there is like putting whatever effort it takes, right? Because I was trying it in, let's say, the last 10 seconds, and there was like, but you can't do it because of work, because you have a headache, because, I don't know, only 2 hours until you have to sleep and do this tomorrow and this. So that's all the shit. That's all dukkha, and the effort is to catch it, and whatever effort it takes.
Yeah, so not whatever effort it takes, but more the least amount of effort to get the job done. And the thing is, so it's not a lot of effort, but it may be repetitive effort. So that's dukkha. There it is again. Let me relax and not worry about that. And then it arises because of the habit. It's not that you need to increase the effort, right? So now, no, it didn't work the first time, so I need you push harder and do it more better. No, it's the same response. You just need to keep repeating it until the dukkha gives up, or the mind gives up, because it realizes it's not going to work. It's not going to hold its footing. And so it's more of a relentless effort, unremitting effort, than it is a big effort. The effort isn't really that much. It's just the least amount of effort to get the job done. But you keep doing it until you find yourself, wait, it's not coming back anymore, and it really is just one wholesome thought after another. And then congratulations, you're in first jhana. And then now the job is to stay on it and now it's a matter of time before the next unwholesome thought is going to pop up and poop you out of it. But then the game is to realize, catch that one.
Yeah.
That sneaks in. It like sneaks in through the back and disguises itself, and then takes you out of it.
I think that's a fun little thing to add, like to view it like a game, like spotting them when they arise and all that stuff, rather than being like a boo-hoo, this is terrible or whatever. When those kinds of thoughts arise, you go, oh, nice, I caught that one, we caught that one, excellent. And you can just come back and enjoy, right? So it's not, yeah, like you were saying, Scott, it's like unremitting. It's not like a super hardcore effort. You know, in a way, when you see it for what it is, it's kind of a light effort because you're lightening up. It's an effort to lighten up, to gladden the mind.
Yeah.
And it's a lot easier when you recognize it and understand it. It's easier than not doing it, because not doing it and being a hindrance is very heavy. Whereas this is like light and glad.
Yeah, so to continually lighten up. So if you lighten up and then you tense right back up again immediately, well, that's the practice, is to lighten up again. But it's not like a bigger effort that goes into it. You just do it again. Never mind, start again.
Even if it was a few milliseconds.
Yeah, it's
Yeah, but you know, it starts with one water drop until it becomes an ocean. So, but the practice is only one drop at a time. You just keep dripping it until before you know it, there's a flood. All right, well,
yeah, nice, that helps. Thanks, because I think I was putting in too much effort when in the
Right.
sense of like, I don't like this, go away effort.
Right.
Yeah.
Right. But struggling with it. Right.
Yes.
All right. Well, unless there's any more questions, I think that's a good note to end it on. It was good seeing all you guys. Veda, do you have any closing comments? No? Okay. Wonderful to see your smiling face as always. Katal, do you have anything? Oh, I couldn't hear you. Okay. I'll just take that as a goodbye. But it was good to see you as always. Eric, do you have any closing remarks? All right, man. Peace out. DJ?
Yeah. Thank you, everyone, for showing up, and Scott for hosting, and congratulations.
Congratulations, everyone. All righty. See you guys next week. Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Hi, everyone.